Welcome to New Game Plus, a retro gaming podcast where three guys spend 7 days playing one old game and then we talk about it. My name's Dustin.
My name's Kenny.
Nolan.
And you are listening to and or watching episode 263, the first episode of 2021.
This is a big moment.
2021.
You paused just long enough there that I thought we had time traveled and I started to panic.
To 2022?
Does
He said 2021 and I was like, Y2K.
You thought we were in 2000?
Yeah.
Does 2021 sound weird and futuristic to you guys?
So much more than 2020 for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. It's because it's no longer a double. It's like, now you have to say the 2021. It sounds so like...
I think we're far enough in that like 97, we can just say 21.
21? Oh, I hate that though.
No one's getting confused at this point.
21? So like 19 is 2019? Back in 19...
Back in the 90s.
No, 19. Yeah, I guess.
Well,
20
now,
is the year that it jumped.
Now that we're in a brand new year, we have a whole new set of games to look forward to. And if you haven't yet listened to our Christmas cast, where we reflect on some of the key games that released in 2020 and some of the key gaming moments as well. Here, I just want to take just a mini moment to talk about some of the games that are coming out in 2021. If you have some in mind that you want to bring up, more than welcome to do that. But I know that you don't prepare necessarily for this intro section as much
as the show,
yeah, as much as I do.
Life.
So I have grabbed a few that may or may not be interesting to you. I'll mention them. You say if you're interested in them.
They won't be.
Correct, Kenny. The first one is called It Takes Two. I don't know if you've heard much about it. It'll be on all new and previous gen consoles as well as the PC. It Takes Two.
A Tango sim?
March 26th. It is a husband-wife game created by the developers of Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons.
What?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you each have a joystick.
Also dual play?
I think so, Kenny.
Okay, you each have a dual stick and you have to change diapers together. I'm in.
I don't know about the diaper thing. There's another game, Kenny. I don't know if you've heard of it, but if you haven't, you need to go and look into it. It's called Humankind. Comes out April 22nd for PC and Stadia. But
as a concept, I'm over it.
It is a new Civ competitor.
Interesting.
Oh.
They haven't had a true competitor in a while.
I always loved that. Like, when that City Skyline game came out for like City Builder and just crushed it. I love competitors.
Yeah. Kenny, no.
He won't ditch Civ.
I like the idea of that genre. If it's good, that's great. I don't want a game that I have to sink like 20 hours into every single game.
Okay,
play.
Hades boy.
You don't
right
have
now.
to.
You do if you're gonna that type of game. If it's like a Civ 6 style game, to play it correctly, it's long drawn out sessions, and I don't do well with that these days.
There's another game coming out that is called Gotham Knights. Have either of you heard of it?
No.
About Spider-Man?
Bad joke. What is Gotham Knights?
I think it's actually a part of the Arkham series.
But it doesn't say...
That sounds right. That would be my assumption.
For the very first time, you're not playing as Batman.
Yikes.
Robin?
I think it's like a co-op multiplayer, other characters in Gotham playing together.
Same studio?
I'm not entirely sure.
You don't have it ready. Thought he was prepared, guys.
Oh!
It is Warner Brothers. So is that who did the...
I don't know.
Oh, well, you're not ready. You're not prepared.
I mean, that's who owns the rights, so it's safe to say yes.
Well, that will be interesting. The Lord of the Rings Golem. Have either of you heard? It's going to be, your Golem.
I want it. I love Lord of the Rings games. The Two Towers was such a good game.
But in this one, you're Golem.
Yeah, I want it.
Please tell me it's like really story-heavy RPG, and I
I
get
think so.
immersed.
Please. And
It's
please tell
action
me
adventure. Yeah.
Okay, is he voicing him?
Is he? I don't know. I don't think
Circus.
that's been announced yet.
He's got
Anthony?
Andy Circus.
Andy.
The best.
Hogwarts Legacy. Hopefully that's coming out in
Wait,
2021.
is that
Yes,
one?
also hyped for that.
That's the one.
Okay.
That's the one.
That's cool.
There's others. I've got God of War Ragnarok on here. You've got the next Horizon Zero, whatever. You've got a few different ones. Any that I didn't mention that you guys are interested in or hopeful for?
I honestly don't know
the-
many.
Yeah, the only one I knew of that I had hype for was the Harry Potter game, and we'll see.
I think there's going to be a new Harvest Moon. There's going to be, we've talked recently, there's going to, because at the game shows, they showed a few that they were remaking of classic games, which is interesting. Maybe there will be a resurgence in retro video games. I don't know.
On that Harvest Moon note, so Stardew lit a fire under them, and they're like, wait, we don't know how to make games. Let's try again. Do you think it's going to be really good? Well, they'll just copy Stardew Valley.
Hopefully, just video game developers in 2021 and beyond will have the guts to roll out some incredible games.
Oh, all right.
Thank you. Like in our retro game of the week, first one of the year, Mega Man Battle Network 2.
Overview.
Mega Man Battle Network 2 is the third installment in the Battle Network series. It is a sequel to Battle Network 1.
I mean, it's clearly the second. It has the number 2 in it.
Leave the show. This game is huge for me. I love this game. I played this game a whole lot. Let me tell you some more details before I continue. It came out in 2002 in North America, 2001 in Japan, and that, like, I was so shocked to hear that. I thought this came out way later than that, but apparently not.
Back in 1?
Well, I thought 1 came out.
01.
No, this came out, but this came out in 1.
Yes.
01.
Yes.
Wait, why the O? Okay, and it came out for the GBA, which you're a GBA boy.
Big time. Huge. That's like my favorite handheld console. In terms of like game catalog, I think it beats the DS for me. The DS was great, but yeah, GBA was me.
I've said it a lot before on this podcast. I always wish that I had done more handheld gaming. Pretty much every Game Boy Advance game that we pulled on this podcast, I've been thoroughly amazed by that they were able to do that much on a handheld, because my handheld experience was pretty much limited to the Game Boy, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I
don't knock it.
It's good,
no,
but
it's
so far removed from what this is.
Right,
I
it's
guess,
colors, it's pixels,
great.
like it's good. You always are impressed by how it looks.
Game Boy, every game looks the same, green, and a little bit of a darker shade of green.
And then the color came out, and then it didn't really help.
But then this that looks like it's next gen. I'm playing this on the PS5.
It is next gen compared to GB.
Great British Bake Off. 2002 in North America for the GBA. This is Capcom, developed and produced it. It is Mega Man, and anything Mega Man is Capcom. The producer of the game is Keiji Inafune.
We always nail it there.
Probably the exact pronunciation.
I would have done better.
Go ahead.
Keiji.
Okay. Now, this guy is the game's producer, but also Mega Man's original character designer, I found out, which is a fun fact.
Really?
So, yeah, he was responsible for the look, like the Mega Man we have now. It's just this guy.
But
so
also, listen to this guy. The first 2 games that he worked on was the original Street Fighter and the original Mega Man.
Legend.
Like, this guy kind of knows what he's doing.
Kind of. And so all the way in 2001, he's still going hard on like good games. And so the Battle Network series was like this new spin-off of Mega Man. It's not your typical platformer, so it's not Mega Man. It is a role-playing game, actually, with some real-time tactical gameplay thrown in there. And I'll argue throughout this episode why that genre is one of the best. You'll disagree, but I have some good arguments there.
We played, hey, real quick, because we
Yeah,
played other Mega Man games. That's one of the things that I think is most interesting to me is that Mega Man really went a lot of different directions.
Yeah.
Now, help me real quick, because a contemporary, of course, and more successful is Mario, right? Mario went a few different directions, but did they go as many as Mega Man did?
Probably, just based on that's their main IP. It's huge.
Right.
They had Mario
Yeah.
RPG. They had Mario Racing.
Party.
I think they've gone harder than Mega Man, but Mega Man not being like a Nintendo like mainstay game has done probably close to that level of like spin-off and success.
Because we played Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, Mega Man X. Those are like straight Mega Man games. That's the way that it was created. Platformers, left to right platformers.
Yeah.
But then we've also
3D RPGs that are Mega Man.
Like Mega Man Legends? Is that what that is? Okay, we played Mega Man Legends, and that is a totally different kind of experience. And now we're getting a third one here with Mega Man Battle Network 2, which obviously didn't start the series, but it's a totally different kind of experience.
Yeah, very different. Here's the setup for it. So again, not platformer. You are controlling two characters. You're controlling a Navi operator and a Navi. Now, those are equivalent to humans and Digimon.
Digital monsters,
Digimons are the champions. So you are Lan, this human boy, and his Navi is Mega Man. And Navis are digital pets. So like Tamagotchis, Pokemon, Digimon, like you have this little Pokedex looking thing and your Navi lives inside of it and you interact in the digital world with your Navi. So you jack in to electronic devices and you socialize with people on the internet. It's almost like I don't know, like VR, chat VR or something like that.
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One?
Yeah.
The Oasis.
The Oasis.
Kind of.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Like VR.
Yeah, it's just like they help you do things. Like it's like a phone, but they have a personality and a voice. And Mega Man is Lan's Navi. And so this is Mega Man Battle Network 2. So in the first one, you defeat WWW, which is this organization.
Which is the World Wide Web.
Which is also the World Wide Web, so it's not a great name, but they were trying to like create viruses and take over the internet like hackers. You beat them, and the enemy in this game is called Gospel, and it's another bad guy organization. And so Lan in this game gets his he's a kid, by the way. He's in school. But you get your like Z license, which allows you to become like an official. You get like an official title where like you can travel the world and like battle and be like this like official person. So like he's kind of underage, but like he can still travel. And so you're trying to like travel the world and stop all of these like gospel baddies, and you fight a lot of like recognizable faces from the Mega Man series. And I haven't gone into like the core of like the gameplay because we have a section on that, but like that's kind of the best I can do as an overview of like Battle Network as a series, and then 2 as an entry.
You have experience with this game, Nolan, but Kenny and I well, Kenny, I'll ask you to be nice, but do you have experience with this game?
I mean, I'll be nice since you're asking. No, I do not have experience with this game.
What is he? Is this his 2021 self?
I
Nolan?
think, I think this year he's just going crazy.
He's
2021. You're gonna get the best version of me.
I'm not ready for that. Take me back.
Yeah, and I don't have any experience either with the series. Battle Network is not something that Kenny and I have ever experienced. So you can watch my first play.
Oh yeah.
Thoroughly confused for a little bit, and it's kind of interesting because I felt it, and I think it's visible in the first play, but I slowly start to put pieces together. It's weird at first because you're not Mega Man, you're not Mega Man, and you're not Kenny. It's not the same. You're not Mega Man, and then when you do play like especially in 2, it's kind of like you've got to put the pieces together of what 1 was. Are you Lan in one,
Yeah.
Nolan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're landing one as well.
It's
Okay.
exactly the same game, different story, slightly less mechanics.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, again, very different than any other Mega Man game that we played before.
Very.
Because if nothing else, you're not Mega Man. Mega Man is a computer program that you're executing in a good way, and using to defeat the viruses. And the battle system, which we'll talk about in gameplay, is completely foreign and different from any other. Is it kind of like Super Mario RPG a little bit? Because there's is that kind of what that is?
So it's a little like that, and it's a little like Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, but not really.
It reminds me a little bit too of, and maybe not. Maybe this is a weird stretch, but like
it's so unique.
Didn't we play a Sailor Moon game? Or something that was sort of tactics grid. No, we played a game that had like 9 different types of battle systems in it, and one of those was a similar grid-based battle system.
That sounds bad. I don't know.
There's a viewer that knows what I'm talking about.
Probably.
Go back and listen to our 263 episodes and let us know which one.
And fill me in.
Send us the clip.
Gameplay.
So if we haven't said it yet, Mega Man Battle Network 2 was a Patreon pool game. We wanted to start the year hopefully strong. There were a few options in there to start the year off really poorly. But it was a game that was submitted by multiple of our patrons. So Austin Carlson, Garlisle, Cecil, and Konstantinos all submitted this game. And because of that overwhelming number of entries, we pulled this game. And as we've already mentioned, it is a completely different game than any of the other Mega Mans. Nolan, you said that you travel the world as Lan. Are you talking about the physical world or the digital world or both?
Physical. I was
Really?
talking about physical, but I mean, you could technically say that you also digitally travel the world, I guess.
Because the majority of the time, if I'm not mistaken, you're jacked in, exploring the digital worlds. And what was interesting, especially at the beginning, is that as you're traveling through the digital world, you are having random encounters, and then you are having to do a couple of quests, fetch quests. You kind of even throughout the game have a list of quests that you're trying to achieve. And Nolan, a lot of them feel like filler. But I know that you are going because you have to do certain things or get to certain levels or find certain items so you can get to the next area. And once you're able to do that, to progress the story, you fight like a boss. I think you've mentioned earlier, but some of the Mega Man bosses that you're used to in the past, right? Like, was the first guy Airman?
Airman.
Yeah, that's the one you'll recognize from Mega Man 2.
And let's take our listeners and viewers to the battle scene. You warp into a grid-based battle scene where you have a 4x4. Is that yours? And then they've got a 4x4.
It's 3x3.
3x3.
Yeah, it's 3x. Isn't it 3x8? 3x6.
It's 3x3. So you have 9 tiles.
So 3x6 is what it would be
per side. Yeah, so it's 24 total squares divided in half.
Either way, your half is colored.
It's a rectangle. It's not a square.
Your half is blue, I think, and their half is red. And you can't go into their squares, but you have free movement within yours. And you have 2 options. You can use your Buster, which is weak. Only does at the beginning 1 damage at a time, 1 HP worth of damage at a time. And then you can use these chips that you're collecting along the game that you can customize, that are randomly pulled from your folder of, it starts with 30, I'm sure it expands from there, that you randomly get, and you use them as your better damaging weapons, or as some tactile movement type things, or as recovery, or to flee. Use those chips. That's your main.
These are your consumable skills that are the primary things you're making strategic choices about. Lots of weapons, but other things as well.
And equipping those only comes every 30 seconds or so. You've got a bar at the top of the screen that is slowly filling, and you can while it's filling, you can use the ones you previously equipped or your pea shooter until it's full. Then you press the L or the R button, and then it pauses the battle, and you select the chips that you want to use again. And there's a whole method of choosing chips, because you can only choose some that are the same ones or have the same letter attached to it. It's math. If you like math, you will like Mega Man Battle Network.
It's a deck builder too. So I'm trying to think of other games that implement this. To a more relatable and much lesser degree, Pokemon, you can think of it like that, in where you build your team of Pokemon and you switch out. But it's a little different, because these chips that Dustin was talking about, you get a lot of them. You get them from beating enemies, and in line with like traditional Mega Man style, especially with bosses, when you beat them, you'll get a chip that typically will do something that enemy did. So like you fight these cannons. This is like the most basic chip, and you get a cannon where his buster turns into a cannon and does like 40 damage, does extra damage.
They're good.
Yeah, it's very straightforward, but and the complicated part, I think, does come into like actually constructing your deck, because they do have letter assignments or star assignments. That was new to Network 2. You didn't have star chips in the first game, so like you can select in one turn. You can select chips of the same type or chips of the same letter. So there's a lot of strategy and like planning out your deck rather than just like randomly getting them in battle. So I love that aspect of like preparing for fights and playstyle.
It also makes each battle different.
Yeah.
Because you don't know exactly what chips that you're going to get.
You don't know where the chips may fall.
2021.
You're not allowed to make any more chip jokes. There are a lot of them.
One of the things that I found, I guess, interesting is that with the chips that you're using, you have a limited amount of things that you can do, because they have different ranges. Like your cannon, it can go all the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But these bombs only go a certain distance, and then you've got like this V shot or spread shot that.
Well, and you've got melee weapons. You've got swords where you're
you have
only
to be
hitting
right
people that are directly in front of you, which is not all the time because this know grid.
And so there are some chips that allow you to steal certain platforms so that it turns from the enemy's color to your color, so you can move one more over. It's so different, which again makes each and every single battle unique. And then you get a ranking or rating for each battle based on how well you did, how quickly you defeated the enemies, how many chips you used. I guess I don't know.
You were.
Yeah, you're also loading these chips in order that matters as well.
Oh yeah, because
right?
if you load 3 chips and then you go back into the battle, you use them in that order. You can't cycle through them again.
Yeah, so you're almost creating a little like mini algorithm for how you're gonna fight a round of the battle, and then you get to go back and choose that again, all while the enemy is attacking you in patterns that are sometimes predictable, but when you're fighting something for the first time aren't really, which totally keeps you on your toes. You're having to figure out what these things are about to do. And I will say they do an amazing job of telegraphing things and making things do what it seems like they ought to do based on the visuals, because most of the stuff that got thrown at me, I was like, oh, that's about to do X, I should dodge it, and it did, which is hard to do. And so it's this mix of like dynamic reaction along with planning, but then you're planning based on the way the enemy moves and when to fire certain things, and it's lots of sort of micro decisions all woven together in ways that make no battle feel like any other battle you've ever had. Super replayable.
Hearing y'all talk about it.
Yes,
because I have like 3 things to say in response. So the chip thing, the battle system as a whole is not a gimmick, and it like sounds like a gimmick, and it kind of should be a gimmick. It's like it's a lot going on, but they just did it so perfectly because like what you're saying, can you replayability? Sure, you can build a melee deck where you just riddle your folder with area grabs and swords, and so you just steal the enemy's tiles and then melee them to death because they're super high damaging, right? And that variety is like real. Like you can actually do different play styles, and a GBA handheld has no business being that in depth. And then what you were saying, Kenny, about like some of the enemies being predictable. Yes, they do a good job ramping you up and like kind of training you what to look out for. But then late game, they throw some nasty virus. They're called viruses, the enemies. They throw some nasty virus combinations at you, and in a 3x3 grid, like it's kind of hard to like not get hit. And so it gets really deep in terms of like grid strategy. I want to say a lot more, but I want y'all to say something else.
And one change here from the first game in the series is first game you get all your health back after every battle. That's no longer the case here. And so even more added complexity with you having to keep track of that and manage that stuff as well. They really just sort of evolved it well. No, and Nolan, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you also get folder selection here? So you can sort of set up more than one play style and then like choose between those?
You're right. The first game you only had one folder, but in this game I have like my normal like area, like just going through the area folder, and then I have a boss folder separate. You can have 3 total, I think. So it's like really nice to have. Yeah, it's a lot of chips.
It leads me to a question, and Nolan, maybe Kenny, you could even, I don't know, what are the differences between 1 and 2? In my limited research, I was able to discover that there is some, but not much, and that 2 is in a lot of ways a copy paste, and that did make some fans a little bit frustrated because there was enough advancement, a little bit like Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 that we played last time. Nolan, before you answer that question, had you previously played Mega Man Battle Network 1 before Battle Man? You know what I'm saying.
Story time. Interesting story about that. I had a friend growing up who had Battle Network 1, and I wanted to play it so bad for some reason, and I had Shining Force 2 on PC, like a physical disc, and I traded him so that I could play Battle Network 1, and so we traded games, and I was on Cloud 9. Yeah, I had played Battle Network 1 first, so I played them in order. I didn't play Network Transmission until later, which was like a GameCube side game, and it's not that great in my opinion. It's fine. But yeah, I had played the first one, and you're right. It's pretty much a copy paste in terms of like base game. It's like they just used it again and then changed some stuff here and there. But I did not know that fans were upset about like there not being a variety, because I always thought 2 was like in every way superior to the first one.
I mean, the first one was a pretty liked game, and so I don't know that people are going to get super frustrated with some more of the same. And there were a few changes. The ones we already mentioned, health not coming back, additional folder, customization, more skills, the whole like star thing on skill styles, as well as sub-chips. Sub-chips are also new to this game and didn't exist in the one.
What are sub-chips?
I say that...
Those are ones you use out of battle.
Okay, that's what I thought they were. Because all I had for the most part were ones that like restored some health. So it's like potions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I say this partly from game research and partly from the fact that I screwed up this week and started by playing Mega Man Battle Network 1, and then only realized after I'd played for a little while that it was the wrong game and had to go back and do the other. So I can verify very similar games.
Oh my gosh.
So Kenny beat Mega Man Battle Network 1 and 2
I
this
did not.
week.
Just a taste of each.
Something else that I love about this game, and it's something you said earlier, Dustin, and I've been thinking about it like while y'all are talking, and I think I have a conclusion. So you said that from what it seems like, you spend majority of the time jacked into a computer and exploring the digital world. Majority, yes, I think technically. However, they really do give you a solid balance of like real world and digital time. And I don't think that the real world is filler. I think it's actually really interesting, and the characters that you meet are actually interesting. So like the pacing is perfect to me. Like I when I get tired of like fighting random encounter battles, it usually would be time to go back to the normal world and like go home and like go to sleep, and then the next day you'd go on like a trip, or like you're flying to different countries or something. And like I really always enjoyed how like and they talk to each other a lot too, like Lan and Mega Man. And so there's like this, you're constantly like, you never forget about one world or the other, you're just in both. And so it's like and also that kind of foreshadows some stuff that happens in the game. It's like it's so nice. Right. It's a nice balance in the pacing.
Well, and both worlds affect the other.
Yes.
Like that's the thing that I found interesting, and I'm sure that was created in the first Battle Network. You know, that's yes. what this game series is about, is that there are things happening in the physical world that need to be addressed in the digital world, and vice versa. For yes. example, early on, that bad organization, they have sent gas poison into one of your friend's house, and there are these noxious clouds everywhere, and you can, the way that you get rid of them is by going into you jack in and you fix the fans, do that kind of thing to be able to clear out the fog, whatever, in the real world. So that's one example that is carried all throughout the rest of the game and the series.
So good.
One other thing is that I didn't get much into it. Nolan, maybe you can speak to it. There is like an advanced armor system here where later on you you have a style that your Mega Man kind of carries or takes on. I think based on the way that you play, maybe you have a free choice, so you can either be Guts, Team, Custom, Shield, and Hub. Those are one of the 5 styles, and then each of those have 4, or you can then align with one of 4 elements. So that's Heat, Wood, Electric, and Aqua. And I'm sure that greatly affects gameplay and sets up for so much replayability.
Yes. So in terms of like how you end up getting one of the styles, it is based on how you play. I don't know the exact mechanics behind it. I'm sure the information's out there, but like I think it's using certain kinds of chips influence, like you don't get to pick is what I'm saying. Like when you get to that point in the story, Mega Man will just turn into like a certain style. And I always liked Guts is like more offensive, the affiliation, and then like the style branch of that like would be like Wood. I always liked that one. And basically the different things just add so you get a charge on your buster. So the pea shooter, if you hold B, you get a different attack. So like Woods is this twister that happens 2 spaces in front of you, and it does like increased damage. The fire one is a flamethrower that goes straight in front of you. The water is it's actually the shotgun chip, but it's water type. So yeah, replayability for sure. And I even haven't played all of the different styles and Guts or affiliations.
That feels so good, not just in replayability, but in feeling like Mega Man. It would be really easy to, to have this world and to take it in a unique direction, but to lose any of the like relation to the broader world. But like the bosses and the boss types and those interactions, as well as being able to like charge up your buster, are such staples. And I love that they totally reworked it, but still kind of respected what the game was about and where it came from. That's so good.
Yeah.
Aged.
Normally, this is the part of the episode that I look forward to talking about the least. I don't know. Music is fun. Graphics are fun, but it feels kind of rote. I'm actually super excited to talk to you guys about this because I'm curious about how you felt about sort of the tone of this game, because it's sort of like you guys said, Digimon. It's really written as a game for and to kids, and that's interesting. And 2,
B.
So I do what I want. There's more than one of them.
Kenny.
And B.
Kenny loves making lists. You don't have a B.
I do have a B. The B is this.
Move to the B.
I was about to be real inappropriate. Okay, here's B. I want to know how you feel about this game's sort of like prescience. What is that word? Wow.
Oh, of
how
our
this
world?
game's view of the future turned out, because they have some very unique thoughts about the interaction between the digital world and the real world and how unique those things are going to be. We're in a world today where people have Nest thermostats and you lose your Wi-Fi and your house might get really hot. That was not 2001, not by a long shot. And yet all of their stuff is connected. We're in a world today where everything social happens online. And like, that's how these people interacted. Again, this was not 2001.
I love this.
There's a whole explanation of like, it's kind of like a cell phone, but it does this and this and this and this and this, and describes what our cell phones today do. Like, I know it's different, and I know there's not evil organizations. Maybe there are.
There are, though,
on the net trying to like do these exact kinds of things.
I love this, Kenny.
But like, how much did this game kind of nail it, even though it was fictionalized and anime and way out left and kiddish?
Don't ask me. I mean, let Dustin go.
I don't remember what your A is, but your number 2 is the prescience, which you just wanted to use that word. Yeah, no, not at all.
Not at all what?
I mean, yeah, it does. I don't know. I don't ever speak to these bigger things. I'm just playing a video game. But yeah, I mean, sure, Tim Cook or whatever. This new what? I mean, a little bit. We're not there yet, and all games, all sci-fi stuff are a little bit, trying to figure out what the future is. In 01, I feel like there was enough clues out there as to where we were headed with some things. Still, this is very fantasy. Like I don't have an executable that I do battles with on the net. I don't know if y'all do, that actually changed something in the real world.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I think you're missing out then.
I think the concept here is fun, and it does that. I think Kenny's A or 1 had something to do with like being kiddie version. I don't know, but like, no, this is an anime. Is Battle Network an anime?
It wasn't. If it is, I'm pretty sure
Kenny,
that was
do you know
post-game.
anything?
I actually don't know anything. Just in general.
Sure.
Yeah, it clearly was, whether or not it clearly was catering to that audience. This is, you guys said Digimon. This is that era, and it's that collecting card game era. This is, Pokemon. This is Yu-Gi-Oh. Like it's those for Mega Man, and I don't know. It's interesting, and sometimes it's really funny because the terms they use are like all really early internet-y terms, and it's kind of a flashback.
Is thrown away.
Yeah, and then sometimes it's kind of cringy because they use them poorly, and it's like, oh, that's a little uncomfortable. And I just don't know. It was a lot because of that. A real like take you back in time kind of game.
Nolan, before you speak to the prescience, let me just say that the games were adapted into an anime series titled Mega Man NT Warrior. So there are 4 seasons of that, and then they were also adapted into 2 manga series. So and a board game.
You could probably buy action figures too, like,
and it was the game first.
The game first, yes.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of rare, I think. Maybe not in Japan. Yeah, we might not hear about that, but like clearly it was successful.
Healthier.
That's a good thing to say. That's a good point to have. Like, people really, this was a spinoff. Like, Mega Man's well established. This could have flopped big time. There are 6 network games, Battle Network games. There are more than that, but like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a lot. Anyways, to your point, Kenny, the tone, to your number A, the tone is childish. Noticeably more so now for me. Like, back then I didn't feel like that too much because I was younger. But
right,
you are
back
doing
then you were the target audience.
Yes, I was. Yes, and so I didn't notice it back then as much. But I don't think it's I don't think it's one of those games where it's so noticeable that it's like a detracting factor. I can get over it very easily probably because of nostalgia, but I think anyone could get over it pretty quickly. Just accepting that whole anime and childish tone and theme and all of that. So like, I don't think a
story involving kids is necessarily a bad thing as long as the game is not childish.
Yeah.
Because you have both. You have shows that are like for kids and you have shows about kids. I say shows because I'm about to make an analogy. To me, this is more Stranger Things than it is Blue's Clues. You know, like it's about kids, but the game and even the tone is for that, but the gameplay isn't so simple that it's like you don't want to play it later.
Yep.
It's still interesting and intriguing even for everybody else to play the game and its mechanics.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do, to cater specifically, but to still be kind of inclusive.
I can see that analogy, yeah. So I think the tone's fine. I think you're doing enough. Well, and I'll just say this now. I think they do such a good job of like just giving the characters personality, not even the main characters only. Like your friends all have unique personalities. They play a role in the story because of it. And even just like the enemies, like the boss, the Navi operators of the bosses you fight. So Airman has an operator. So you get two antagonists every phase of the, throughout the game. And so they usually match their Navi's personality in some way. They're fiery if it's like firemen or something. It's like they did such a good job, like just giving them a voice. So it helped with the tone. The precedents, was it prescience?
President.
The president of it. I disagree with Dustin. 2001, I don't think you have enough context clues to make some of these accurate predictions, because when you play this game now, you're like, that was not a terrible guess as to how we would be interacting on the internet. Like,
right. It's not exactly the same. We don't have like programs that represent us.
Sure.
But you have social media, you have the social stuff, you have IoT stuff. It's a toned back version of a lot of the stuff they called as being around the corner, which I find fascinating.
The amount of like time we spend on the internet and how much we interact with each other on the internet and not in real life is accurate. And it could have been really cheesy. Like, I just think that like playing it now, that's aged quite well. Like, you're just like, cool. Yes, it's fantasy and yes, it's out there. But once you get past that, you're like, oh, that's actually an interesting take on like viruses or what would be wrong with like a computer and how you could fix it in the digital world.
The lingo's a little cringy, but to me that just takes you back to 2001. But the like what they were generally sort of seeing the future as was really fascinating to me, even if it's fictionalized and over the top.
Yeah.
Did you have presidency when it came to the music? Because that was one of the things that shocked me right away. It was the quality of the music. But I will say, Nolan, I felt like I didn't get too far, so this is probably unfair. But I felt like while the music was really good and really fit what it was, it fits that world and all that's going on there, I felt like the amount of time that I was hearing the same track just was a long time, especially when you spend a lot of time in the hub market. I don't even know what that market world hub area thing is called when you're jacked in, but you're pretty much getting one track there the whole time, and although it's a good one, you're going to be hearing it for a while. So that was my only complaint, but every track that I heard I thought was done really well. So
I'm clearly biased, but I love this soundtrack so much. And yeah, if you would have gotten farther, so every phase of the story has some sort of theme. There's like a dark net section. There's like the gas section in Airman is a good example. And in those areas, there is different music. So the one you're referring to is like the default internet theme. And it's my favorite in the whole Battle Network series. 3 has a really good one too, but this one is just, for me, it's so perfect. It's non-repetitive. I mean, it loops, but it just feels so cozy. I love it. I love the soundtrack, and there is variety later. And yeah, you're right. It has no business being so quality and so good, but it's actually what adds so much to this series for me is just the tone of like the music and the variety. It's so good. I'm a biased idiot.
Feels real Mega Man-y to me too.
Yeah.
Which it would have been easy not to, but they keep
important.
some of those themes and tones, and like if you heard it outside of knowing what game it was, but you could have just been like, oh, that's from a Mega Man game if you've played other games in the series.
And then graphically, Dustin, GBA, good, terrible?
Yeah, that's the thing that has preeminence, is that the graphics don't deserve to be that. Again, you can blow that up on a 1440p 1612 and it's going to look good. It's going to look good. Like there's no reason, and it's still the like pixel art, like it's not
pixel art,
you know, and so it's got that charm. I think GBA, I'm gonna say it, I don't know if I believe it.
Do it.
I think GBA is the best of retro graphics.
It's got,
which is crazy because it's a handheld.
For handheld or across the board?
He said
across the board.
Oh yeah, that might be a little bold of a statement.
But for fun, he's saying it this episode.
I thought you were gonna say that GBA was the Super Nintendo of handheld or something.
Sure.
I mean,
I don't know.
Sure, that one too. But like, it surpasses Nintendo 64. They're trying to do two totally different things, but in the retro graphics, preserving that pixel artwork, but then taking it to a detail that they couldn't previously have done.
Depth.
It is just the depth, foreground, background, character models, everything. And in this game in particular, they're popping with color, kind of like a Genesis would, and because that's kind of the theme that they're going with. And all of that just works, man. This is some of the prettiest retro gaming graphic to look at.
It does look really good. I'm curious about Nolan's thoughts of the portions of the game, because the battles are this grid system, but the rest of the stuff where you're moving around is all sort of isometric view. And you've talked a lot of trash about isometric games.
Yeah.
I think even declaring something like you would never ever play an isometric game again, or like one, or something. I don't remember.
An action adventure one, yeah.
And so I'm curious if you were wrong or if you secretly hate this game.
Please. I forget that it's isometric because that's how perfectly they pull off, like, yeah, like, shut up. No, yes, it's isometric, but it's not stuck. You're not stuck on a grid, and like the movement is fluid. It's not like that one game. And so like, another difference between 1 and 2 is the backgrounds were like very samey in the first game, and in this one they're always different, and so it makes each area feel unique. They also went really hard on detail in from area to area. So like, again, on theme with whatever is going on. So the gas thing with Airman, it's like purpley and it looks poisonous. And there are even like puzzles within the areas where like you're getting blown by those vents, and that continues throughout. So like, they went crazy with detail here in the graphics, and I love it so much. It's so good.
It is $45 for a loose copy of this game and $150 new. So Nolan, if you want to repackage yours and put some saran wrap around it, you could sell it. No?
And I would pay so much more than that too, by the way. Like this is one of those games that's like, it's like a must own, and you'd pay a little more for it because it's that good. So
yeah, Nolan's rolling.
Yeah, I'm
just
rich
throwing
too. So.
Cash at games.
Final thoughts.
At the end of each and every one of our episodes, we determine whether or not the game gets our vote for New Game Plus status, which is our general thumbs up or thumbs down. It does require 2/3 of the vote to swing one way or the other. Nolan goes first because this is most clear for him, and it is a baby Bubba.
Fair enough. I said on last episode that this was in my top games, most played games in terms of hour in my life. Which is true. I am going to add on to that. This is probably, like, revisiting it this week made me realize this is probably definitely in my top 10 of all-time video games. It just
That's big.
really big, but like I feel very comfortable saying that. It's and there are many reasons, but I'll limit it to this one thing. It is so unique in every aspect, and yet executed like it's been a genre, and this is how this series has been around forever. It's almost like Battle Network has been around as long as Mega Man the series has been around, because like, and I could probably say this about the first one too. I know we're in the second one, but like, it's just executed in Mega Man.exe in such a way that like it's so accessible. I can revisit this game after so many years and just be like just so in love with it, and I have so much fun with it. So like, it's a must play. It's in my top 10. I'm so glad we got to play it. Thank you, Carlisle, for being obsessed with this game. Probably more than I am. I think you said it's one of your favorite games ever. I just think it's such a charming game. And if you like Mega Man, you know, if you like platforming Mega Man, branch out and try one of the like other series like Legends, or I'd probably steer you in this direction because it's a little newer. So yeah, play this game, please.
Has Mega Man Battle Network 2 always been in your top 10?
It has been at one point. We do that every once in a while, Dustin, where we'll like send each other our top 10. I feel like it's fluctuated, but like it's got to be just because it's so unique.
Kenny, is it in your top 10?
No. Only because top 10 is really big and there's a lot of games. That's not to say it's not a good one. I don't have the nostalgia connections Nolan has. I did find some of the internet references, though punny, were old and a little forced, and I had some cringy moments, just where I felt uncomfortable with how hard they tried on that front. But despite those, they nailed it on pretty much every other part of this game. It was thoughtful about, themes of the future, though I shouldn't overstate that. It ultimately is a game. You're right, Dustin. But did the gameplay elements super well as well. Tactical real-time strategy sort of stuff is fun for me. This one kept me thinking, kept me engaged, made me feel like I was making choices, made me feel like there was replayability, which is huge for something, especially that ends up being as grindy as RPGs with random encounters sometimes tend to be. You're not getting one exact battle over and over and over again. So lots of really good stuff that I could talk about. I don't even know which thing to highlight, but this game was absolutely charming, hooked me. I'm in love with it. It's one of those few I will probably go back and play some more of beyond our play through the week. And I don't say that often. So definite new game plus for me.
I'm happy so far.
There's really nothing more to add. It's a wonderful game. I do think that Nolan, to some degree, and I think he'd admit it, is looking at it through rose-tinted glasses. It does... Some of the things that I was noticing in my limited time this week did have to do with some of the missions that you were going on, some of the redundancy of like, you just need to go and do some fetch quests for a little bit. You need to level up for a while. You need to travel back a certain I just found myself kind of running in circles for a little while based on what the game was asking me to do. But the quality of this game is just leaps and bounds above and beyond many of the games that we played before. It is a stellar retro title, one of the best handheld titles that we've played on the show. I'm interested in the rest of the series, and I'm looking forward to continue playing this game in the days to come, even though we've recorded this episode. That speaks highly whenever the three of us are able to devote or want to devote extra time after the episode, because it's just difficult with our scheduling, and then we always have a new week game to play each week. Anytime that we want to do that and are able to do that and do that, it speaks highly of the game, and that's what I'm going to do this week. So that means that all three of us have given it our vote, meaning Mega Man Battle Network 2 is New Game Plus certified.
As it should be.
But what did you think? We had many write in. You had just mentioned Carlisle. I'm not going to read his commentary necessarily, but when he was our guest as a director episode, he did say that there was another game he had considered bringing on, and it was this one.
Oh, wow.
So like he's a huge fan of the series.
Yeah.
But we had many write in for the very first time, such as Alexandra, saying Mega Man Battle Network was a series that definitely was a staple in middle school and high school. The game was such a unique blend of RPG elements and action. How Capcom took iconic Mega Man characters and put a new modern spin on the series was awesome. The game started to get a bit stale in the later entries when they tried to take the Pokemon approach with different versions, but the graphics, music, gameplay were all Capcom top tier. Play Zelda Oracle of Seasons slash Ages as well. Love you guys listening to the podcast weekly.
Yes. I love that random suggestion. It doesn't really have anything to do with this game, because I agree. Those games are good too.
Thank you for writing in. Espresso Jet said, when I first heard that this week's game was Mega Man Battle Network 2, I'm going to say MMBN2. Or
MMBN2.
I actually leapt out of my seat and squealed in excitement. My hands started shaking and my heart was racing. It sounded like Nolan. What an insane coincidence. Let me take it back a bit. I was listening to the Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 episode and just happened to be playing Mega Man Battle Network 3 and thinking about how amazing it would be if my favorite podcast did an episode on it. I'd been debating which game in the series would be best for the show. Number 2 is a widely loved game, but 3 is a personal favorite of mine. This series is one of my all-time favorites. I played this when I was younger, and it hasn't aged a bite.
Hey.
The combat is smooth. The combat is smooth and engaging, and always just the right amount of challenging. Building your chip library and customizing Mega Man to suit your own playstyle inevitably makes your engagement with the characters and gameplay more and more personal. The story may take you in loops from time to time, and you'll always be checking everything for a secret jack import, but the emotional roller coaster is worth it. New Game Plus.
White or blue version? Let me know in Discord. Because 3 is broken up into 2 versions.
I would say leaf red leaf.
Yeah, they did the Pokemon thing with it. I had white version.
Emerald.
Rami said, this is my very first Mega Man game.
That's
like, of all of them? That one's crazy.
But continue.
Do you think he means it's the first one he's ever played and he played it this week, or he
wrote Mega Man, so
MMBN2 is a game that knows exactly what it wants to be.
Yes.
The tropey characters, the bananas plot, the neon strobing of Mega Man's net, and the bright, cheery colors of Land's overworld. The whole thing feels like a kid's anime I never got to watch, which apparently it is. That style is reflected everywhere, from the pixel art to the great music, and I think huge props should be given just for that. For me, the thing that stuck out most was the battle system. Movement, strategy, and progression through collecting chips all come together to create something unique and relatively simple. It's nice to play an RPG, the strategy RPG, a game that doesn't rely on experience gauges to keep players engaged. I wish the dungeons weren't all so easy to get lost in, though. If they couldn't make them less samey looking, then a map would have been nice. And I'll never stop hating random encounters. Ooh, a map.
Not a bad suggestion. I never even thought about a map in these games.
Even if
this is one, if I go back and play more of, I will probably pull up maps online.
Smart.
Because I totally felt that in the little bit of time I was playing.
For sure.
I was just like, where am I?
And you don't lose much by knowing where to go. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Well, and because each world, I don't know what they're called, but each map looks cohesively the same for itself, it's easy to get lost in there.
Yeah.
And then finally, Cecil said, this game holds a very special place in my heart. I met my best friend through another game, but through this game, we really bonded. It had so much influence on me as a gamer and as a creator. The designs of the navies in this game in particular stuck with me and still influence me to this day. Despite it being more refined than 1, but less quality of life improved like the others after, this still remains my favorite entry in the franchise, except maybe 5, but that's because it's filled with callbacks to 2. There's also just a sincerity to all the silliness that I can't even hold its filled segments against it. The battle system is incredibly fun without getting too complex, and I still remember the music to this day.
I haven't played 5. I quit. I don't know if... I think I played 4, and I haven't played 5 or 6.
Not a true fan.
I guess not.
Sounds
but if
like
it has
you gotta
callbacks
do a
to 2,
marathon.
I'm in.
Yeah. Again, Garlisle, Clint, so many others sent in their commentary. You can always send in your thoughts and commentary on the Retro Game of the Week to ngppodcast@gmail.com or hop into our Discord, drop your thoughts in the commentary section, and we'd love to include your thoughts on the Retro Game of the Week next week and all the weeks to follow. For now, we're going to put aside MMBN2, and we are going to not randomly select. What? Again? Why would you do this to us, New Game Plus?
Oh, no.
Because
that's not how our show works.
We have a good reason. We mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but over the holiday season, our good friend Antonin has decided to up to director level. And when you do that for the very first time, you get to join us for a very special director's episode. Now, for the most part, anyone that has done that in the past has shortly after not talk to us ever again. So I don't know what we do to them, but we're so glad to. That's not every single one of them, but it is.
It's all the things we say off air.
I guess it is. So we are having Antonin join us next week, and he handpicked a retro video game for us to play, and that game is a role-playing video game first released in 1991.
What system?
Originally, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
Okay.
A lot
promising
there.
We're not playing that version.
Okay.
We're playing an, some would say, advanced version.
All right, staying on the console.
We are remaining on the handheld console that is becoming my favorite, called the Game Boy Advance.
Yes.
It is a game that was developed and published by a company called Square.
Yep.
Dun, 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 dun.
Was a hint.
We are playing Final Fantasy IV Advance.
I knew it was 4. Okay. That's great, obviously.
Yeah.
Love Game Boy Advance. 4, I also own this one, physical copy on Game Boy Advance.
Golly, dude.
But I've never gone through 4 all the way, and everyone loves it, and it's got a really interesting story.
Yeah, because y'all stopped playing with me when we were going through all the
Yes.
Final Fantasies together.
Yes.
Yeah, I pretend to be a huge Final Fantasy fan, but that means I played Final Fantasy 1 a ton, was
That's
a huge fan, dabbled in 2 a little bit at one point because of you guys, and then picked the series up again at 7. So I can't
Refusing to
actually
finish
claim. Yeah, I can't actually claim to be a true fan. So this is a hole in my knowledge, and so pumped.
I can. And Antonin can as well, because Antonin has a little podcast called Yaf Podcast, yet another Final Fantasy podcast,
Yes.
and he is methodically working through each Final Fantasy game and
sick.
recording his experience with that. I believe that chronologically he's releasing episodes for season 4 right now. Yeah, he just recently started season 4, if I'm not
Meaning
mistaken.
Final Fantasy 4 is the topic.
Meaning Final Fantasy 4, yeah, is the game that he's playing through and recording episodes for.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It all comes together.
But the
That's
version that
awesome.
he is playing is that advanced version. It did come out in 2005, so it's just barely retro for us. But again, Final Fantasy IV Advance, find a copy, play it along with us and Antonin, but you're not just going to get 1 week of it. You're going to get 2 full weeks of it, because next week we are bringing to you a retro recap. It is that time again, retro recap, where we review the last 20
something
or
Ish.
so episodes of New Game Plus and the games that we played on those episodes. So we'll do that next week, and then we'll have Antonin join us to talk through Final Fantasy IV Advance.
Can't
It's
wait.
going to be a good year. This is also the year that you need to join the NGP community on a deeper level in our Discord server. So if you go to ngppodcast.com and click join us in Discord, you will get sent to that community where we pull commentary and comments and build relationships with our listeners and viewers. So make sure that you do that. We need to get to 1 million members soon, so do that.
1 million members. I just caught it. I was thinking about what I was about to say and wasn't listening. That's how I always am. A big thanks as well to those of you who support us on patreon.com, including our ever faithful list of producers: Marley, Austin, Ben, Brojim, Carrie, David, Francesca, Corey, Mr. Lattes, Maxima, Shauna, William, and Zion, as well as our two amazing directors, Garlisle and Antonin. And I also want to give a huge shout out to a few folks who are joining that train for the, in some cases for the first time, in some cases not. A couple of new patrons, Super Gamer Guy and Espresso Jet.
Hey.
Thank you for expressing your support of expressing your support for our podcast. Expressoing your support of our podcast, and our most presidential producer. I can't steal Dustin's jokes. Ben, welcome back. Thank you for joining us at the producer level.
Thank you, Ben.
We love you.
Airline pilot hostess Ben, we love you and appreciate you. Welcome back. You can listen to us, watch us, and befriend us on all of our social media: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. All of those links are in the show notes. Make sure you listen directly on any podcast provider of your choice. Subscribe so that you are the first to get new NGP episodes. And while you're at it, leave a kind rating and review. This episode was edited and produced by our good friend Tom Tate. Join us next week as we do a retro recap, and the week after as we play Final Fantasy IV Advance with Antonin. Until then, I'm still Dustin.
I'm Kenny.
Jackie and Mega Man EXE.
And this has been New Game Plus.